All right, welcome to another episode of Psoto Desperado Play Star Wars The Old Republic. I'm over here where I left off. And I'm going to continue Corellia. I think I'm almost done with it. But I know it's going to take a while longer. Now, like I said last time, I'm not able to switch between screens properly. But I can still record the audio from the other thing. And let me see if I can find a way around. And I'll get to this side. And so I'll be playing stuff in the background, and I will put the links to these videos I'm playing in my description. Unfortunately, that's the way I'm going to have to do it. But I'll try to give credit where credit is due, and we'll go from there. Now, when I switch out of here, this thing pauses, and that's fine. And then when I come back, it reloads, and that's fine because it records consistently, this screen. It's recording based on the game, not the screen that's currently up, which is why we're good on that. All right, this one is from Legion of Men. Older men respond. What would you do differently with women, money, or career? He's talking to older men that have responded to comments and try to give advice. The guy's on vacation right now somewhere in a very nice environment. So we'll start with that. Here we go.
Welcome back, tribe. I have another beautiful day here in Thailand, specifically Krabi. As you can see, we're by our little secret rock. Well, not so secret, but the water from this bay has risen dramatically. Last night we were walking here and this was bone dry. You can walk on the ground here. That's how much the water receded. Anyways, so another beautiful view and some beautiful sounds of water swishing around the rocks as we cover today's episode, which is the latest community post I had up that said, older men, if you could go back to your 20s, what would you do differently with women, money, or your career? So this is going to be an interesting one. Let me get the camera situated for you guys. There you go. And I'll start reading some of these. I'm going to make more videos like this. I'll have more questions up that older men or men with experience, depending on what the topic is, could answer. Help some of the younger guys, especially men that haven't been through some of these situations and just need some guidance. So I think people were saying these were some of the best episodes. This last one that came out, it had so much golden nuggets of wisdom for men of all ages, honestly. So let's get into this.
I got to take a moment.
See what we got here. Okay. Dear mid-20s me, when she dumps you, immediately go no contact and forget she exists. It's kind of an obvious one. Well, not so obvious when you're young and dumb, stupid, and in love, and you make all the wrong moves trying to get the woman back. If somebody leaves you, don't jump back in the trash heap to get them back. Seriously. Never ignore a woman's red flags. Save money. Acquire more skills early. Self-explanatory. Advice to my 20-year-old self. Women will never fill the hole in your heart. Focus on your spiritual development instead. Hold your frame and only let a woman into your life as long as she doesn't derail you from your path. That is a golden gem right there. Self-development, guys. Work hard in your 20s. You get to play in your 30s if you want to. When you're young, chasing women, it's a complete waste of time. You're playing with a massive handicap because, one, you're too young. They don't like you when you're young. You have no financial power to make anything happen, and they like, in general, men with more experience in life anyways, at least probably 5 years older than them or more. Another one writes, no drugs or alcohol. Get away from bad people, even if they're family. That's a big one. It's hard to say goodbye to family, especially when they were there for most of your life. But when you have bigger dreams, when you get on self-improvement, when you start to evolve as a person, unfortunately, some people will be a crab in a bucket mentality and try to pull you back down to your level. their level, and honestly, that includes family, which is very unfortunate. Save more, invest more, take more risks with work, not go to a university without a plan or a reason. Student loans suck. Self-explanatory, if you're an American, student loans could basically be a mortgage on top of your head when you're trying to start your life. So forget even trying to own a home. Don't touch alcohol or weed. So that's one that comes up often on here. Things I would do differently in my 20s. Start saving, investing earlier and consistently. Quit that job I hated earlier. Avoid alcohol completely. Continue to build new skills. Find hobbies you're passionate about. Avoid dating/women. Spend your money wisely. Spend more time with my parents. Travel the world. Network. Hang out with people smarter, more successful than you. Those are all great points. It says, not date or meet women at bars. Would prioritize a religious girl with a good family who was always optimistic and happy. Sounds very specific, but that's a gem that applies, especially the optimistic and happy women. Look, character-wise, personality-wise, people are pretty set in their ways. It's very hard to change kind of your identity, your day-to-day habits, if you're not mindful of them. Most adults that you're going to meet, guys, when we said in the last video, watch how they handle stress and pressure, this is very much so the same thing, the optimistic and happy, like how you see the world, how you interact with outside variables that enter your personal space and how you deal with those is extremely important. If you have somebody that handles situations badly with anger, for example, or when they're angry, a certain side of them comes out that is less than ideal who you'd want in a partner, pay very, very close attention to stuff like that. It will make or break your relationship. That's something that will wear you thin over the long term, guys, because it might be like a little red flag that you're willing to overlook right now because times are good, but spend years and years and years being ground down to a fine dust by that little red flag that pops up often enough to maybe get you to question things, maybe doubt some things, maybe make you tired over the long term of dealing with that little issue that keeps spawning. Pay close attention to that one. Avoided women for at least 10 years and just worked on building myself and my resources, enjoyed life on my terms exclusively, he says. My one advice would be stop thinking you're not good enough. That's another good one. If you want to stand out in your 20s, put your mission above everything else. Build your strength in the gym, sharpen your mind, and make your financial game unbreakable. Don't let anyone derail your focus. When you move with intent and discipline, the right people and opportunities naturally fall in line. Success isn't about chasing approval, it's about commanding respect through sheer hard work and self-mastery. It's another good one. One thing I definitely do differently in my 20s is start cutting toxic people out of my life sooner. I wasted way too much time and energy on people who didn't deserve it. I wish I'd realized earlier that not everyone is meant to be in your life. Big one. And some people are just there to drain you. I learned this with my first stroke at 29 years old in 2001. Until then, I was always helping others, but when I needed help, everyone disappeared except my mother. I had to pick myself up and become my own hero in life. Life's too short to surround yourself with negativity. Big. It's usually the issue with younger people because you're still trying to fit in, you're still trying to find your group, you're trying to find, or at least peer pressure, you're trying to get in with the wrong crowd sometimes because they may seem like they're cool or they may have something you want, but these are the wrong people to hang around in general. But when you're really young and you kind of are going through identity creation, you don't really know who you are or what you want, and sometimes you pick the wrong people to try to emulate or be around. Choose your friends wisely. They have a huge effect on your life, and that's a gross understatement, guys. Surround yourself with people you try to be or people that inspire you. I would have ghosted women completely and focused on my own happiness instead of trying to find a relationship. Focusing on yourself is important. You don't need a relationship to be happy. You are your biggest project. So eat healthy, find hobbies you love, and if you like animals, get a pet for company. I have my dog. He's all I need to get through everything. Animals don't turn on you. Women do. Eventually will if they haven't yet. So this one is obviously bitter at what happened to him. He's got some negative life experiences. Hopefully he gets out of that rage mode and understands that not all the women are bad, but there are a lot of people in this space that just quit the game completely once they get screwed over one time, because it tends to be a life-changing experience for guys, especially if you're divorced in the West and your kids get taken from you. So it's understandable, but don't get lost in that rabbit hole. One says, I wouldn't waste any money and time on drinking and partying. Would have never drank alcohol. Another one. This one says, would have never gone on a trip where I met my wife. This one says, he has 8 points. They seem pretty good. The money I wasted on alcohol. Wouldn't touch the stuff. Don't now. Trying to find happiness through others. Big. You decide if you're happy the moment you wake up. Realize that so many women want attention, but they don't want you. The old idea of pursuing women to win her heart is rubbish. Wow, that's a great one, actually. Spending a lot of money restoring old cars and bikes. Just buy something reliable from the get-go. Toyota or Honda, he recommends. Starting a personal pension in my early 20s was a great idea. It enabled me to retire early. Wish I'd put more money into it. Wow, that's a great investment advice. Never lend friends money. You'll most likely never see it ever again. Don't mix friends and money. Sure. I learned that one myself the hard way. Cost me a few best friends. Don't put up with crap from employers. Know your rights. So many get away with it because the employee doesn't know their rights. Walk away from trouble, aggressive people, fights. You'll spend less time with the police and lawyer fees. There you go. This one has a quote saying, you can't fly with eagles if you hang with the turkeys. Carefully cultivate your friend group, as they will make or break your life. Indeed. This one has a few good points too. Travel, and preferably try working abroad. Gain as many experiences as possible, preferably not drug or alcohol related though, and if so, in moderation. Start saving and investing money every month. Create more boundaries in relationships, both with women, friends, and work. And eventually after all that, just focus on the 4 or 5 most important things in life. For him, it's health and fitness, investing and saving, his girlfriend/family, and riding a motorcycle around Krabi, and chilling on the islands like Fifi and Koh Lanta. Nice. Oh, this one's good. Don't ignore health issues. It may not seem like much at the moment, but if you ignore it, then it can compound to become a major issue. There's a similar comment like that I read earlier too. The guy now spends all the money he's made trying to fix his health because he got fat. Didn't cause some complications. 52 here. Stay away from bad people, drug addicts, alcoholics, charlatans, flatterers, and abusers. Take agency of your life. Set goals. And always know setbacks will happen. Get knocked down, get back up, and evaluate what happened. Sage advice, dude. And someone noticed it here. What's funny is that many comments here are advices against things that usually define living life. This is what they tell you living life is. Partying, women, drugs, degenerate activities. Yeah. Leads to your own destruction. We live in an upside down world, like I told you guys. Basically, do the opposite of what the herd is doing, and you'll live a good life. Take action. Don't waste time waiting for something to come along. Stay in shape, keep learning. Life will not get easier. There you go. Quality of a friend is greater than quantity of friends. That's also another good one. I regret trying to be cool and conforming myself to the expectations of those around me, even those I admired. That's actually super solid. Again, fitting in with that wrong group that I told you about, or trying to get the adoration, attention, respect, acceptance from people that aren't just meant to be in your life, aren't good people anyways. Sometimes, unfortunately, that's all you have around you, so you don't know the difference. But guys, I'm telling you, it's big. Always assess the people you hang around with. I would have avoided alcohol altogether. Nothing good came from it, and it leaves you broke. I would have invested my time and efforts into learning a vocational skill that will help me earn a skill that I could take with me wherever I went. Finally, I would have been far more selective when it came time to look for a wife. Women, like men, are a dime a dozen. But a good woman is priceless and will support you even in times of heartache, misery, despair, and in the hardest of times. Facts. That is perfect. Not many good women or men left in the world today, so it's a bit of a search, especially in the West. I'd take more advantage of compound interest. Guys, if you don't know what that is, you should really educate yourselves on compound interest. It is a lifesaver. You don't want to be retiring at 70 or last minute and only enjoying a few years of your life. You can make a massive change with just a little bit put away every month. This one says, I gave up social media about 2 years ago, and it's had such a positive impact on my mental well-being. There's no external influences that make you feel less than, and you feel more at peace with yourself. I have absolutely no regrets with this decision. That's another solid one. There we go. Here's the one about the fat guy. Don't get fat. It's so easy to stay in shape. I got fat. Cost me more than my health. Now I spend the money I made repairing my health. Take the time to stay fit, even if it's only walking. This is a big one, guys. So it's easy to stay in shape. The hard part is getting to where you want to be, but the maintenance of it is extremely simple in comparison to getting in shape or losing fat, maintaining where you get to. So put in that hard work up front, get the body you want, and simply maintain for the rest of your life. That's the easy side. But if you allow yourself to get really out of shape, if you allow yourself to compound all these health issues, it's not easier to bounce back the older you get. Believe me, I'm in my 30s. I'm not bulletproof like I was in my 20s. I like to go to bed at 9, 10 o'clock. Don't stay up until 3, 4 in the morning and wake up refreshed. Can't drink like I used to. Don't drink at all actually anymore, because even a sip of alcohol puts me out. As opposed to in my 20s, I practically could filter that shit like it was water and could drink almost everybody under the table. Had poisonings sometimes, or damn near, because of the amount I could drink and was drinking in college for the same stupid reasons you read here. Trying to fit in, wasting time belonging with a group of people that you shouldn't be belonging with, trying to make others respect you or just seem cool, or, liquid courage, whatever it is that you want to call it. It's so useless. You don't need any of that shit in your life. Take care of your health, man. It's harder and harder every day to get up out of bed, especially when you're out of shape, especially when you need to start from scratch. And if you do need to start from scratch, tomorrow won't get any easier. You need to start today. Don't put off being healthy. Don't put off what that will be like for the rest of your life. You want to be able to enjoy the waning years, 50, 60, 70, without needing canes, without needing 10 pills to keep you alive, without struggling to walk up the stairs. You can do this. It could start with just walking every day. Then it could go to lifting weights. Then it could go to doing some other outdoor activities, but you need to get going. Eat healthy, get rid of all the bad food, all the processed junk and the sugar and all that crap. If it doesn't come out of the ground from a tree or from an animal, don't touch it. It's all processed garbage. And you'll do just fine. This one wrote, the only thing I would have done differently is I wouldn't have spent my college years partying or getting wrapped up in relationships with toxic women. I'm 31 now and in good financial standing with a career and pension, but I could have been so much farther ahead if I got completely sober and clear-headed years earlier. Yeah, it's time you won't get back. This is why I say grind hard in your 20s, because you will pay for it in your 30s. You want to play in your 30s, not pay for playing in your 20s. By the way, guys, you can't even do much when you're 20, when you're young and you're broke as a man. Life sucks, dude. You're barely getting everything in order. You have to hustle really hard. You have to get an education or a skill. You have to work yourself up. You can't just show some titties and get on a yacht or on a helicopter or from private island. Women in their 20s will experience a life so dramatically different from yours while you're stuck at home just studying, gaming, watching anime, and just trying to get your head on straight about what you want out of life and a career and building a business. Their lives are completely different. They get up front everything, and through the waning years, if they make bad decisions, they end up with almost nothing and misery and regret from what they could have had. But for men, you have to build early, and then, and only then, will you in your 30s, 40s, and later on in your years, will get to experience what a woman was experiencing in her 20s. Some will say that's not fair, but look, we don't have a ceiling. Our potential isn't limited based on our looks. That's just the society we have today. It's, not a nice thing to say, but hey, it's the truth. It's reality. A woman's potential in life is basically capped by her beauty. The more beautiful she is, the more access to an incredible lifestyle she will have because of the quality of the men that would want her. But a man's potential is only capped by his ambition, really, and his success. Doesn't matter if you're tall or short or skinny or fat or, all this shit. Those things are all improvable by your own two hands. But ultimately, your success is what will lead your, quote, ceiling in life. So you could be almost anything you want to be as a man. It's not dependent on how handsome you are or how square your jaw is. It's just how much value you could provide society. But understand that if you're trying to have fun in those formative years of your 20s, when should be spent building otherwise, it's very limited. You're broke. There's not much you can do. You're going to be looking for like happy hour drinks and hole-in-the-wall bars and whatever other garbage clubs are around you. That's where all the low-quality people are. You're literally wasting your time on low-quality trash experiences with trash people. If you spend your 20s working hard, and you'll lose a lot of friends along the way, and you may be alienated from family or anybody else you consider family, your brothers, whoever it is, friend groups that you made, because crabs in a bucket, man. People don't want to see you successful. It is what it is. It makes themselves uncomfortable because they're seeing you live out their dreams that they gave up on. It's completely normal to have people question you when you're in your process. They will only accept you once you've gotten to the finish line. Not just women, but men, your family, anybody you come across in your life. People only respect results. The dreams you have, the ambitions, the ideas, that's cool. Keep them to yourself. You tell people your plans, they'll laugh at you in your face. It's normal because they're just words. They mean nothing. The actions that you put in every single day are the only things that matter. Crossing the finish line, becoming the business owner, the successful one, becoming the millionaire, freeing yourself financially, having a successful family with children, all that stuff, all the things that are respectable take time and effort and discipline and dedication and putting in work every single day. Once you arrive to that spot, then the respect will come from everybody else. Then they will ask you how you did it. They will then parade you around with pride. Oh, that's my son. Oh, that's my brother. Oh, that's my bro. That's my husband. Look at all the things he accomplished. Accomplished, not said he was going to accomplish. It's okay for people to treat your dreams and your goals as, some wild imagination you might have. It's too big for him. Oh, those are nice goals to have, but can he really do it? It's normal because everybody talks. Talk is cheap, but action is expensive. Everyday action is the most expensive. You could do some shit for 2 weeks, pretend you gave it your all and quit on yourself. Big deal, you're back to starting over from scratch. But if you have what it takes to maintain that discipline, the everyday grind when no one's clapping, no one's looking, no one gives a fuck. Those years spent grinding, getting to your goals, one day you'll look up and you've arrived, and everybody else will look up to you for advice, look up to you with respect, wonder how you did it. What's the secret? There's no secret, man. It's just grinding every single day when you don't feel like it, regardless of how you feel, regardless of what the weather's like, regardless of what the financial situation is like, regardless of the stress, the curveballs life hits you. You have to operate almost like a machine. That's how you have to think of yourself. All external factors are irrelevant. The goal is the only thing that matters, and that's all you're going to get after. If you can get to that point, I guarantee you will have success. I guarantee it. Anybody here, anybody listening to this video, I guarantee you if you could get in that machine-like state to become an absolute beast and get after your goals day in and day out without faltering, with that state of mind, if you can get to that mental framework, if you can convince yourself that you are this machine, I guarantee you, I will bet money, I'd bet millions on you that you would succeed. Every single successful person I've ever talked about had that level of, I guess you could call it delusion or self-belief, that no matter what came up, no matter what the circumstances were, no matter what roadblocks they hit, that they would succeed eventually. They had faith. You have to have faith in yourself, that no matter what happens, you'll succeed. If you're not going to believe in you, why should anybody else believe in you? That's the truth, brother. Once you get to that point, you'll have everything you ever dreamed for in life. Anywho, before I keep rambling on, hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Let me show you one final look of the view we have. And we'll sign out from Thailand, Krabi, headed to Samui next in a few days. And some island hopping. Look at this beautiful view. You could be here enjoying this too. Gorgeous. Take care, everybody. See you on the next one.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and switch to the next video. That was the guy from Legion of Men. You should see the environment is in. You should see the video. I'll put it in the description. But man, it's beautiful over there in Thailand.
The F-18 NATOPS.
Oh, that's something else.
Breaking news.
We have our first...
Okay, so this next one is from Taylor the Fiend. Single woman loses her mind because men don't take women on dates anymore.
Listen up. I need you to stop speaking to men who can't plan dates. Why? Because planning dates is the bare minimum requirement from a man to show you that he can confidently lead, show you that he has those masculine qualities that you want in a man. Okay? So if you're speaking to a man right now and he can't do something as basic and simple as planning a date, there is a problem there.
Why on earth should men be out here planning dates and taking women on dates who are this damn entitled and arrogant? I would argue, guys, that the men don't have a problem. It is women who have a problem. But what is going on, guys? It is Taylor the Fiend back again. And we are once again going to be kicking it off with a clip from this woman right here, who I suppose functions as some sort of dating coach for women. And so she comes on here, she makes these videos about what women deserve. And on today's episode, we're going to be kicking it off with one here who, you know, she's basically complaining that dudes are not leading dates anymore, right? We're not being chivalrous, we're not planning the dates, we're not taking women out on dates, and of course this is a problem. Now, I don't think this is a problem for men. I think that this is truthfully a problem for women. So let's jump in. Guys, don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments, and we will also continue into a few more clips here today.
Ladies, listen up. I need you to stop speaking to men who can't plan dates. Why? Because planning dates is the bare minimum requirement from a man.
Okay, so I see a lot of videos where we talk about the requirements from men. You know, men have to do this, they have to do this. Why? Because it's the bare minimum. Do we ever talk about the bare minimum from a woman? How about don't post half unclothed pictures of yourself on Instagram? Right? How about I start saying that this is the bare minimum, but I'll say this, and people will just lose their marbles over it. How dare you? You don't like women, and so on. Again, guys, women are allowed to have their bare minimum and their standards and their requirements from men, which, hey, may or may not actually be sensible, despite the fact that they do the complete opposite anyway. But the moment men say, well, what are the bare minimum requirements from women? Then we get shamed and we get insulted.
To show you that he can confidently lead, show you that he has those masculine qualities that you want in a man. Okay? So if you're speaking to a man right now and he can't do something as basic and simple as planning a date, there is a problem there.
Just by the way, oftentimes modern women don't make it simple or easy or straightforward to plan a date. You know, some of them guys, you know, they have the requirements of where to go for the date. And then if you don't consult them, then it's an issue, right? So you choose the place, well, then you're ignoring her input. You get her input, then you're not leading. It's like dudes would rather just not have the headache, man. You know, like she says it's simple and it's straightforward. Number one, a lot of women will just screw around guys, waste their time, say that they're interested in dates and then never show up. That's first of all. Number two, most guys can't get a date anyway. Number three, even if you do go ahead and plan all this stuff for a woman who probably doesn't deserve it, a lot of them are still headaches about it anyway, no matter which way you approach it, unless you're highly attractive to the woman. You know, and then they wonder why dudes don't date them.
Do something as basic and simple as planning a date, there is a problem there. There is a problem, and you need to stop speaking to men like this. You are wasting your time speaking to men like this. You want to be with the guy who's literally like, okay, I made reservations, I'll pick you up at 7, wear something nice, and let's have fun, right?
Just by the way, who do women actually date? Okay, so that the funny thing is, they say that they want this from a guy, okay? But here's the thing. If the guy is not attractive enough to her, this is just going to come across as creepy. She'll never show up. You've made reservations for no reason, and she'll just move on. Now, the guy who's highly attractive to her, he doesn't even have to do any of this stuff. I guarantee you, women who make videos like this and who are like, yeah, men need to do the bare minimum. They need to make reservations. Tell me to wear something nice, blah, blah, blah. They have hooked up and been with so many dudes that didn't have to lift a damn finger. And yet we're expected to take them out on dates, romance them, be assertive, do all the planning, pay for the date, obviously, because if we don't pay for the date, then we're not a real man, apparently. Okay, and so on and so forth. But these women have given their bodies and themselves to people who never had to lift a damn finger, and we're out here being required to make reservations. Completely stupid. Again, the behaviors, it's funny because people will say like, oh, you have to act this way, you have to do this, your behaviors need to be on point, man. But here's the thing, you can have a dude who's highly attractive, he can be a complete clown, and she'll still hook up with him. She'll still paint him out to be a fantastic man. You know, he didn't take her out on a date, he didn't do absolutely anything. Oh, well, you know, he's just dark and mysterious. Like, all right.
Pick you up at 7, wear something nice, and let's have fun, right? That's the kind of guy you want. As a woman, you should not be in your masculine energy trying to do logistics and planning things and booking things.
Yeah, so I love how women pull this masculine and feminine argument out, by the way. Like, these women are incredibly masculine, and they're like, and then they want to sit here making a video talking about how men need to be masculine for them. Like, these women are so out of touch with reality, man. They're so out of touch. I want to be in my feminine energy, she says, screaming and whining on TikTok, giving dating advice that's completely backwards. Let's jump into the next one here, man. Okay, so this is a clip that is talking about how visual men are. So this is a woman who's going to be upset that men, you know, we're visual creatures. Now, before we jump into this, I have said this before. A lot of guys don't need you to be, you know, a model or something like this. They don't need you to be incredibly low body fat percentage, high cheekbones, you know, all of this kind of crap. Dudes will sacrifice points of attractiveness for someone who's actually just pleasant and a nice human being. But women just don't understand this. They go out here, they get augmentations, they put 37 pounds of makeup on their face, and they're like, this is what men want, right? Yeah, the dudes will hook up with you, but you won't get anything from them. Let's jump into this clip here.
Right, men are so visual because so many men date based on this like physical appearance. I have heard people say this before. Men are so visual, and I never really knew what they meant by it until this video. She's saying a lot of men will choose who they date primarily based off of physical attraction and what they want their girlfriend to look like.
So let me just pause it here. You're half right, half wrong here. Here's the thing. Again, women you don't have to be some supermodel. Okay, you really don't. This is an idea that women have in their heads. Dudes are not out here requiring women to get augments and to put on all of this makeup in order to date the dude. They're not out here requiring this stuff. Now, dudes who are going out there just hooking up with women, obviously they're going to go for the attractive ones, especially if they have options, right? They're going to go for the most attractive one that they possibly can. And that's that. And that's all these women see, by the way, is because they see who the top percentage of dudes are hooking up with. And they're like, wait, he's not hooking up with me. That means that, men are just visual and they're only in it for how pretty I look. And they're completely out of touch with reality. They have no idea. Men will quite literally sacrifice points of attractiveness in a woman for a woman who is actually kind, pleasant to be around, hasn't been with a whole bunch of dudes, things like this. They don't give a damn as much as women think. Now, obviously, don't be overweight and eating a whole bunch of McDonald's. That goes without saying. But you don't need to be on the front cover of magazines, Because men are so visual. And then I was like, oh, you mean shallow, superficial. But we don't call men that. Yes, we do. We call them all sorts of names. Dogs, we say that they're only interested in one thing, and so on and so forth. We have a lot of insults, a lot of colorful ones for men these days. And women, they throw these out ad nauseum, to be honest with you. They really do. You don't want to date me because of X reason. Oh, she'll throw out all of the shaming language.
People are saying men are so visual in contexts where if it was a woman, they would say women are so shallow or women are so superficial. Or, they're conceited, stuck-up bitch horse who actually, I don't think you're that hot anyway.
You know what the difference is, just by the way, in terms of men and women in this regard? Men and women have very different thresholds for what they find attractive. Again, I would say go out there, get a very attractive guy, and look at for example, his swiping statistics on dating applications, who the people that he's interested in are. There will be a whole bunch of women that a dude is interested in. You look at an average woman, you watch an average woman swipe on any sort of dating application or whatever, she will only be interested in a small fraction of the dudes on those applications. Okay, there are very, very different thresholds. Men are not requiring you to be a supermodel. They really do not. Women like to pretend like the barrier is super damn high, and the reason why they think it's super damn high is because the men that they want aren't dating them. That's really what it boils down to. Any behavior of the average man just goes to fairyland, guys. It doesn't exist. The way the average men behave might as well just be something that's not based in reality, because these women just do not ever see it. They're just like, wow, this top percentage guy who's hooking up with a bunch of women, he's hooking up with attractive ones only, right? He's only quote unquote dating the attractive ones. It's like, yeah, this dude has a bunch of options. He's obviously not looking for anything long term. Makes sense,
Men just get to be visual, so value neutral. It sounds like an innate, unchangeable physical characteristic. I have never heard women described as visual, although I have certainly heard them described as shallow and superficial. And
just by the way, the reason why nobody describes women as visual is because, number one, you get insulted for doing this, for insinuating that women are attracted to men physically. And number two, women lie incessantly about this. You ask the average woman what she's attracted to on the street, she'll just talk to you about, oh, she wants a nice man, she wants a good man, blah, blah, blah. I get on here and I say that women are physically attracted to dudes. Very top percentage guys. I make comments about this all of the damn time. But I think a lot of people don't really know this because they listen to the garbage that women tell them. Women are actively advocating that they don't care about visuals whatsoever, despite the fact that they do. That's not me doing that. That's not men doing that. That's women. Whenever you ask a woman, especially if you have a camera pointed at her face or she's in any sort of public situation, they will lie through their teeth and say that physical attraction really isn't that important to them. You know, there's a lot of ones that are becoming more brave these days, you know, the screaming ones that you see saying that height is important, things like that. But that's about it.
And it means the exact fucking same thing. And this is absolutely not a criticism of this creator. I really appreciate that I finally understand what people have meant all this time. But we should not permit this anymore. Men are visual. That is deleted. When a man says men are visual creatures, like, you have to substitute that with shallow and superficial. Or wait, is that not what you wanted to say about yourself? Then I guess you just gotta scrap this justification, come up with something else.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm pausing it here. The last 20 seconds of what she just said, I completely zoned out. I have no idea what she said. And to be honest, I can't be bothered rewinding it to take a look. So let's continue into the next clip here. This is essentially a woman trying to attack... Guys, as we go through these clips, I can't imagine why men don't want to date women, by the way. Why aren't men planning the dates? I have no idea. It's a complete mystery to me, guys. I'm just mystified by the whole thing. So this next clip here, this is from a Lock the Bounty Hunter video, guys, and it is absolutely hilarious. So this is basically a woman going on about how dudes are unaware and incompetent, right? And obviously she's single. Wonder why that might be the case. Let's jump into it.
I had a guy tell me that he absolutely hates being asked or told to do something by a woman, a girl that he's dating. And that's fine if, like, you're a self-starter who doesn't need to be told what to do. So I asked him, like, well, do you just, like, get things done yourself? Are you a self-starter? And he was like, yeah. I was like, you're someone, like, if you were to hear a problem, like, you would get up and fix it without having to be told. And he was like, yeah. Well, when we showed up to the restaurant, this was with a group of friends, not a date, we didn't have a reservation, and he talked to the host. I was like, well, we'd like to put our names down. And he was like, no, just we'll sit by the bar and come get us when a table's ready. And the hostess was like, okay, I'll come get you when the table's ready.
Notice how she immediately, so first of all, she immediately takes charge of the situation. Okay, the waiter's there or whatever the hell. Again, it's hard to listen to these women, right? So the dude and her rock up here, and then she immediately takes charge, right? So we're obviously butthurt over here that men don't want to be instructed by you and told what to do. But what is the first thing that these women do? They try and take charge of the situation. They try and control the situation. So let me get this straight. You know, men are required to lead, essentially, right? We want a masculine man who leads and makes decisions by himself and gets things done. But at the first junction of a decision, you have to step in and make the decision. Like, shut the hell up. You don't want to be led. Oh, I want a man to lead me. And yet their actions are the complete opposite, man. Complete and utter opposite. And just by the way, women think that men need to be told to do things, but a lot of the times they simply don't, because what they're telling the dude is completely irrelevant. You know? They're completely irrelevant. They'll start bossing you around and telling you to do things that are, like, completely just not even necessary, and then they're like, you know, see, he wouldn't have done it anyway. Yeah, probably not, because what you're trying to get him to do is stupid.
Sit by the bar and come get us when a table's ready. And the hostess was like, okay, I'll come get you when the table's ready. So the group of 5 of us awkwardly, like, were like hanging out by the bar.
Day and night she talks, each word more useless than the next.
Hey, lady, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that guy was probably saying something with a little bit more nuance. Men don't mind being told what to do every once in a while, so long as it's done in a respectful manner, but we don't see that with modern women.
Yeah, none of it is respectful, man. Absolutely none of it. Right? They'll tell you what to do. Oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, but it's not. It's just done in a domineering way that is just completely a waste of everybody's time. She's essentially just trying to cause a headache and trying to tell you things that just either don't need to be done, or she's just being super disrespectful about
Responded to your stupid question. Want
Ridiculous.
to fit only never waited the name instead.
4 tables. So I turned by, and the restaurant isn't packed at all. There's plenty of open tables. So I turn to him and I say, wow, I wonder if the hostess forgot about us. And he went, I wonder if she did. It's been a while. And I waited 5 minutes to see if this man was a self-starter. He wasn't. Eventually, I turned to him and said, well, you're the one who spoke to her, so I think you need to get up and remind her that we are still here.
Yeah, see, this is why. This is what I'm talking about, man. This is why nobody wants to listen to these women. Nobody wants to date these women. Is the dude's probably chilling. You know, he's relaxing. You guys are hanging out by the bar. What's the big deal? You have to wait a few minutes. You know, the dude was probably going to go over at some point. Maybe she's busy. You know, it's really not that big of a deal. But these women just have to turn everything into a headache, and then they wonder why dudes don't want to be with them. Can you imagine this, right? If the dude was like, yeah, I don't really appreciate being bossed around by a woman, being told what to do all the time, things like this. And then, you know, instantly, when they go out to this event, number one, this woman's trying to take charge. And number two, her eyes are so crazy, by the way. And number two, at again, the next junction of a decision, she just immediately tries to get him to do something. Like, shut up, man. Shut up.
That's right. I had to tell him what to do. And he
No, you didn't.
He did, and she did forget about us. There was a table ready, so she immediately sat us, and I just pointed it out to him gently. I said, remember our conversation like 45 minutes ago? And I don't think that you are a self-starter, because I pointed out that I'm pretty sure that the hostess forgot about us, and you didn't get up to talk to her. I had to tell you to get up to talk to her.
Yeah, see, this is the point, by the way. I would have just left, to be honest with you. I would have absolutely left. This woman is horrible to be around. Absolutely horrible. I have no idea why the hell men would date them in the first place. I have not a clue. This is exactly why, you know, women are having such a problem with modern dating, and they can't get these sorts of behaviors that they want out of men. Number one, the men that they choose would never give these behaviors anyway. But number two, even the average guy will just be exhausted by you. This behavior is disgusting, guys. It is so narcissistic, it is so entitled, it is so arrogant, and it is completely insufferable. You know, like, who does this woman think that she is? Like, is she your boss or something? Is she like your mother when you're a child or something, trying to instruct you? Like, this is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. These people, they act like HR positions in a social setting, and then they wonder why dudes don't want them.
And he was like, yeah, I didn't like that.
I am Jack's complete lack of surprise.
I find it hard to believe that you were gentle with this whole thing when we consider you were at a restaurant and hell hath no fury like a modern woman with an empty belly. This whole test of yours just reeks of pettiness. At any point, once you noticed that there were empty tables, you could have gotten up and just checked with the hostess yourself. I wouldn't have been that big of a deal. This man did his end by solving the problem, and you could have shown some support to him and your friends by actually taking some initiative, but you didn't do it. He didn't like what you were doing because you insulted him. There's a time and a place for these discussions, and public in front of his friends is neither one, sister.
Just by the way, this is like a few minutes of inconvenience, and this woman just loses her marbles and tries to like get him on a gotcha moment kind of thing. Imagine having a relationship with this woman, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just simply can't do it. They're completely insufferable. Everything you do will be a complete and utter issue, and it's just ridiculous. Like, you know, the waiter would probably realize at some point, and it wouldn't even take that damn long. Like, but they just lose it, guys. They just can't handle it. They just can't handle things not going their way for like 2 seconds before they need to boss somebody around or tell somebody what to do or lead a situation. Like, just relax, woman. These women are so ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Again, guys, I would have got up and left. I can't tolerate people like this. You know, as I get older, man, I have less and less patience for people like this. In fact, I have absolutely none. I can bear listening to these people on TikTok, right? And even then, it's a complete headache to me. But trying to deal with these people in real life, no thank you. Absolutely not. I don't know how dudes are doing it.
Were sitting happily at the bar. There were so many times where he heard an issue and he could have been like, I'm gonna check on that reservation. But he didn't. It's like a certain mixture of just like bad ingredients when a man isn't a self-starter, hears problems and doesn't get up and fix them himself, and on top of that he hates being asked or told what to do. It's like, damn, I hope you find someone who really, really caters to you and expects very little.
Just by the way, nobody wants you, madam. Any dude who has any level of self-respect, he doesn't want to be with you. If your case is like, well, you're never going to find anybody, yeah, you're damn sure I hope I never find anybody, especially like you. I think a lot of guys would rather be by themselves completely. Like, this is not even a question. You're like, well, a woman's going to have to put up with the bare minimum. Do you ever think that there might be women out there, by the way, who can actually tolerate a couple of minutes of inconvenience? Do you ever think about that? You know, do you ever think about the fact that there's women out there who don't need to instantly take control of the situation? Again, guys, I want to really make you guys understand that this was over from the beginning. Like, as soon as they walk up to this restaurant and the woman tries to take charge and do all of the things, like, you already know it's just completely over. You know, she's not feminine whatsoever. She has to be in charge of things. She has to control things. She has to cause an issue out of everything. It was never going to be pleasant. I guarantee you, this guy could have led this perfectly, and she still would have had issues with it. She still would have had issues.
I hope you find someone who really, really caters to you and expects very little.
Smelly fish. And it's not a cod.
I think we can all agree that modern women have turned the fine art of problem solving into an infinite minefield of pure hell. Any single one of you at any point could have walked up to the hostess and asked what was going on, but you decided to thrust that on the man and then blame him when he doesn't solve the problem fast enough. Now, from the man's perspective, you made him feel like he did something unforgivably wrong when you were the one who put the name in the book, and you should have been the one to go up to check on your reservation. Now, let's go ahead and pretend that this scenario happened exactly as you said it, which we all know is a lie. You rubbed the salt in this guy's wounds by having to talk to him right away about this stuff instead of waiting for an appropriate time away from everybody. This wasn't about him being a problem solver so much as you just wanted to shame him. You could have waited until the night was over to talk to him afterwards, but you didn't want to do that. You wanted to be right away.
Just by the way, I don't even think she didn't even need to have a discussion about this to begin with. Like, to me, this is not a huge deal whatsoever. And the fact that she feels the need to come out and, like, check this guy and be like, haha, here's like a gotcha moment at all. I don't care if it's after. I don't care if it's before. Like, you know, it doesn't even matter. The fact is she's doing it, and she's just annoying as hell. So many of these women who complain about, you know, they complain about the behavior of men and how terrible men are and things like this. It's like, no dude wants to date them anyway. You know, like, you would have a hard time convincing a self-respecting man to put up with the behavior in the first place. You know, as soon as she starts trying to control the situation, as soon as she starts trying to be annoying in this particular way, dudes are just going to be like, oh, hell no. I don't want anything to do with this.
Guys, tell me why I was crying last night. I was crying at the bar. Tears rolling down my face. And I don't really sit well with sadness, but I sit fucking good with madness. And I was pissed off at this man. Let me tell you what happened.
This woman's a psycho. Before she even gets into the story, probably not any of it is true. We'll just run with it and just assume what she says is true, but it's probably not true. You gotta love when a woman opens up a story, by the way, telling you about how much she was crying and how many tears she had running down her face. Really sets a good scene. Paint yourself out to be a victim and then tell a heavily biased story. We're on track, aren't we?
Also, if you saw me last night crying, like, no. I'm gonna chalk that up to AI. It wasn't me. Thank you. This f***ing loser weird freak. Let's call him Freak of the Week, #1. This weird freak, I've hooked up with him before. Apparently he's going around, like, showing, like, his guy friends and my friends, like, private texts between us, which can never be good. No, fuck.
Just by the way, women do this all of the damn time. I don't know what she's losing her marbles over. And if he's such a freak, if he's such a terrible man, Why are you hooking up with him in the first place? I see a lot of women, they're like, yeah, this man's awful, he's terrible, he did all of these things, blah, 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 terrible man. And she'll make up a whole bunch of things about him that may or may not be true, right? And then my question is like, okay, if he's so terrible, why are we hooking up with him then? Oh, but I didn't know he was so terrible. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have hooked up with him instantly then. That would also be a good move. You know, if you don't know who the man actually is, maybe you shouldn't be giving him access to your body. But hey, genius moves modern women are making.
I have a text between us, which can never be good. No, fuck.
And
Oh, the reason why you were crying is simple, lady. You were 9 cocktails into an 8-year-long bender. It's bound to happen. Especially in your case. You decided to bump the proverbial uglies with Chad, and he in return wasn't taking you seriously and decided to show your text messages to all of his buddies just to show them how much strange he was scoring. Because that's the thing about text messages, sweetheart. You have zero control over how they're shared, and come on, let's just be real here. Your TikTok commentary is pretty much 99% about your text exchanges with Chad, Tyrone, Marco, Raphael, Chang, Wang, Takeda, and Buck. But when you do it, it's because you're such a victim of horrible circumstances, but when they do it, they somehow violated your privacy, but...
Yeah, that's the first comment I made, is women will do this stuff. You know, they will do this all the damn time. They'll share text messages. Hell, they'll make public social media posts talking about the specific men that they are dating and hooking up with. But yet they get offended when the dudes share their messages. It's completely ridiculous. But guys, we are going to be calling today's episode there. As always, don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments. Make sure you guys take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Peace.
Okay.
Hey.
All right. The next one is I Can't Find a Job, so I'm doing DoorDash to survive by Jamie Lanier.
Yeah, I'm James Zeta, just call me Jamie, and welcome back to another video, and welcome back to another vloggy vlog. So today is Thursday, I want to say January 3rd. It is about 8:53. I've already gotten myself together, drank my coffee this morning, looked at my Bible, so I'm feeling blessed. Okay, then I'm out here in the car right now getting ready to take some orders. I've been up since around about 6 something this morning, but I just, you know, left out the house probably like an hour ago. But I'm sitting in the driveway right now getting ready to get my day started. I pulled up Uber and I pulled up DoorDash to see, you know, who has the better order. So I'll be bouncing back and forth between apps, but this is what your girl has to, you know, go to until she can find a job, or like I say, till I get to where I want to get on YouTube. But look, I had a good order come through, y'all. It was an order to pick somebody up from the airport. It was like $17, over $17. And I was sitting there running my mouth on the phone, not paying attention. And I should have took that dang order. I regret not taking that order. I'm just like, I'm praying that something else come through like that, because like I said, remember I told y'all, I prefer to pick people up from the airport, you know, and if I'm gonna pick somebody up, it gotta be the daytime. I don't want to do that at night. So I'm just sitting outside the house waiting on the best order to come through. But yeah, it's cold as hell outside. I don't know what the temperature is, but it's cold. I had to warm that car up first before I get in this car. I turned the heat off for a little bit, and it got cold real fast. So yeah, I'm just sitting here waiting. I ain't got nothing. Oh yeah, my shirt is so cute. It says, "This is how I fight my battles, right? That's the shirt I got on. And then it got like a Bible under it. So yeah, I'm just sitting here waiting for something to come through. I don't know, you know, I'm sitting there clicking deny on Uber and I'm complaining, but I need to get my acceptance rate back up so I can get some good orders. But like I say, I just don't want to accept any old thing. Like I just, and in order to get your acceptance rate up, you're just gonna have to accept some BS until you can get it up. Like they want to offer me $10.77 for I want to say about over 30 minutes and 8 minutes to go there and 24 minutes to drive all the way to Atlanta. And I'm like, I'm not gonna take that. But some people take like everything, but I'm just not that person. Like it got to be worth it for me. So yeah, I'm just sitting here thinking, and I got my Bible with me in the car, so when I started to get like discouraged, and then I also got this book that my sister gave me. It's called The 100 Most Important Bible Verses for Dealing with Anxiety and Fear. So this is how it looks right here. So I'll look in this, but what is this? Hold on. Something else came through. That was an Uber order. That was for $12.60 plus $1.50 included. No, I don't want that one. Plus $1.50 next turn. Yeah, but when I get a little discouraged too, I read this book right here, because this book, if you worrying, if you fear, if you have doubts, then they have like Bible verses in here that you can look at. So yeah, I'm just trying to make it on through, y'all, and waiting on something to come through good for me to pick somebody up. So what is this? This is 2 orders to go to IHOP. No. But next trip. Oh, they're giving $1.50 surge extra. Okay, I didn't know that. So I need to because it says it at the bottom, plus $1.50 next trip you're online. So I guess they add that on like DoorDash do. So with Uber, but Uber, the difference between what I like Uber better than I like DoorDash, because orders always coming through on Uber. Okay, when I say orders always coming through like Uber, it like that app stay busy. It's more busy to me than DoorDash. So that's why I like Uber. Like I really like Uber better than I like DoorDash. And it seemed like Uber pays more than DoorDash. So like I say, once this order pops up that I really like, because see, I'm looking between both apps. So once an order pop up that I really like, whether it's a delivery order or picking somebody up through Uber, I'm gonna go ahead and take it, because I got my DoorDash app up and ain't nothing coming through yet. So what's this one right here? They say 9:15. I don't want Atlanta. No. And then on top of that, to pick people up from the airport, Uber gives you like a little, it's like a little card. Let me show y'all. Hold on. I got it in the back seat. They give you something like this, like the little ride, like one of these little ride share things. So it's like a permit number for ATL airport. Yeah, so they give you that, and you got to have that in order to pick somebody up from the airport. So that's all I'm doing currently. But once I get an order, I'll check back in with y'all. Alright, y'all, so I just got my first order. It's to pick someone up, and it's $21. So I gotta go pick somebody up and drop them off. So I'm not gonna record that person and talking to y'all while that person is in the car, but they're 4 minutes away and I can't remember where I gotta taking that. I know it's not that far, but it's $21. So I'm on my way to pick up the first order in Uber, and I'm excited about that, y'all. When I say I'm excited about that, I'm excited about that, because look, like I say, I'd rather lack than my kids lack, and I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to take care of my kids, because at this time right now I can't find a job. So this is what I gotta result to until I can find the job, or let's say to my YouTube get to where I want to be. So it is what it is. Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. You have to do what you gotta do until you get to where you want to be. So it is what it is. So I will pick y'all back up once I drop that customer off. Hey y'all, so I'm back. I just got through dropping a customer off, but come to find out it was a shared ride. So it was 2 people to drop them off for $21. So I was like, ooh, I'm gonna go ahead and take that. That was not bad. So I just went ahead, this being that I had missed the airport order, I just went ahead and took that one because it was higher, and then went ahead and dropped them off. So I'm just getting through finished dropping them off. I'm on the way back to the house so I can use the bathroom and probably walk around the neighborhood, and then I'm gonna head back out and see what else I can make today. But I am doing Ubering between 5 and 7 this afternoon because of the simple fact they add an extra $7 on top of what they're offering out. So that was exciting. I was a little nervous because this is my first ride, but I'm like, I can do this. So I'll probably do a couple of rides a day and then still stick to doing the delivery. But I was like, I got knocked my first ride out, so I'm excited to do a couple more. So this is what's gonna have to be until I can get to where I need to be. And yeah, so I said I'll just take y'all along with me, but I'm not gonna have the camera on when I'm with customers, because I got to it where I didn't even pick up my phone. People was calling me, texting me, I didn't even answer or pick up my phone. So I only do that when I'm doing deliveries, because you know, respect of the customer. So I'm back at the house, so I'll pick y'all back up once I get back out and start accepting orders. Hey y'all, I'm back. So I'm on my way to go put gas in this car because this car needs some gas. And then I need to get me something to eat because I'm hungry. I haven't ate no breakfast this morning. So I'm about to go put some gas in here and get me something to eat. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn DoorDash and Uber back on to see what pops up, what orders can come through that's really, really good that I can accept. And I wanted to come back on here and let y'all know I'm back in the game, back out here getting started. So I will pick y'all back up once I have another order. All right, y'all, so I just got through putting gas in the car. I'm on my way now because I pulled up the Uber to see what pops up, but I'm on my way now to see, well, really to get me something to eat, because like I said, I'm hungry. I really need to get something on my stomach, rather it be a smoothie or some type of food. I need to get something to eat. But I did pull up Uber to see what might catch my attention before I get something to eat. So nothing is pulling up good yet that's catching my attention. So I would like for another airport order to pop up though, so I can accept that. It seemed like they paying high, and that order that I took earlier that was like $21, I would love for something like that to pop back up so I can stay on those high orders. And I don't know what the goal is for me to make today. I really don't have a goal how much I want to make today in mind. I'm just trying to get to some money. That's about it. So I'm just gonna be driving around to see what catches my attention and get me something to eat. Look. So I'm trying not to get discouraged, and all I'm doing is thinking positive and just thinking about the word that I read this morning in the Bible. So I will pick y'all back up once I get a order that's acceptable for me. All right, y'all, so right now we working with Uber. Nothing for DoorDash yet, but this order is for a total of 3.6 miles to go to Popeyes and then drop it off, and it's for $9.06. So I went ahead and took that. So right now I'm about to head into Popeyes. Is right here because I was parked in the parking lot, in the Walmart parking lot, but Popeyes is right here. So I'm about to pull up the Popeyes right now. Get y'all. I still ain't get me nothing to eat, and I just don't know what I want. I think that I might get me, I'm more leaning towards the damn smoothie. I'm thinking it might be a smoothie, but just I don't know. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I'm pulling in the Popeyes parking lot, so I'm about to take y'all along with me so y'all can see me get these orders. So let's go inside Popeyes. Hey, how you doing? Picking up a place. Picking up an order for Lamar.
Wait till the closer leave.
They also want hot sauce and Cajun. It's a Cajun sparkle.
They want hot sauce and Cajun sparkle.
Thank you. I'm back. So I got the order. So his address, he's 10 minutes away, so I'm about to go on the way to drop that off and see what's up after that. I really need to get me something to eat because all that Popeyes, and I don't want no fast food. I really don't want no fast food because before I had even came back out to start back picking up orders, I had went and took a walk around my neighborhood. So I don't want anything greasy. Because like I said, sometime this month when I get a chance, I do plan on joining back the gym. So I will be getting gym content because y'all gonna see me try to lose this thing on weight because your girl is too thick and I need to get back down to a non-obese size. How much when I weigh myself and I look it up, it says I'm obese and I don't like that. I'm not comfortable with it. That's not me. So I need to get back into shape. So that's why I said I think I might get a smoothie, or if I don't get a smoothie, I might get like salad or something like that. So but we'll figure it out. I will figure it out. It is around about 11:41, so it's still early. I'm just sitting here trying to wrap my head around what I want to eat, because once I don't eat, then I feel so much better. Maybe I won't be doing so much worrying, because I'm always worried about something. I'm always on a 10, so maybe I won't be doing too much of that. But I'm on my way to drop this order off, and I'll pick y'all back up. So I gotta sit here and drop his order off at a hotel. Let me tell you, one thing I like about Uber is before Uber know you about to drop those orders off or drop that person off, they start finding you trips. Trips already start popping up for you to accept it if you want to. Once you drop this order off, you can go right into the next order. That's what I really like about Uber. So I'm not going to accept that order, but because none of it was worth me accepting. But I really like that about Uber. I fucks with them when it comes to that. So I gotta see, I don't know if I need to go inside and drop this order off to this person, or if they gonna meet me or what. So I'm about to find out right now. Let's see. Let me let them know I arrived. I can send them that in the app, wherever they at. So it said that it notified the customer to let them know that I'm waiting and orders are still coming through. I got to get a PIN number from them before I give them walking down. So they're walking down now. I got to get, this order is requiring me to put a PIN in from the customer. So yeah, when I see them outside, then I will get that from them. And then these other orders are popping up, but I don't like none of those orders. So let's see. All right, I'll be right back. You got a pen? Let's see. Gotcha. This is yours. And yeah, that's yours. Thank you. You're welcome. Have a good day. All right, so drop that order off to that customer. Let's see what else pops up. Let's see, nothing good yet though. Oh, let's see, y'all. Got to do what your girl gotta do. I gotta do whatever when it comes to my children, because like I said, they ain't about to lack nothing. I would rather lack. I have new clothes or whatever. I'd rather lack than for them to lack. They could be down, move out my house. I don't care. I'ma always be there for them. So nothing as good as now is popping up, but I think I'm gonna just go ahead and pause this stuff. I think I'm gonna pause it and go ahead and run and go get me a smoothie real fast, because your girl is hungry and I don't want nothing hardcore unless I can get less. Oh, this is another one. This is a, no, I ain't accepting that order. Neither. That's a walk. No, I ain't even accepting that. Unless it's a good salad or something. Because I love me a good Greek salad. When I say I love me some Greek salads, I love me a good Greek salad. So unless it's something like that, which I don't know no place that right now they got like good Greek salad around here. So I'm gonna just settle for a smoothie. Ooh, my hand's ashy. I need to put some lotion on my hand. Let me see if I got lotion on me. I got some hand cream on me because my hands is ashy. That's not good. This is the, damn, you barely can see with this. Look at that in my little bag. But I do know I need to put some lotion on me. I think I need to go this way. This lotion smells good too. Smells really good. Come on. I feel like accepting a $2, $3, $4 order is really not worth it. Count towards money, but to what extent? I just don't feel like that's really worth it for me to accept a $2 or $3 or $4 order. Even though if the miles, if it's something like 0.4 miles and they give in $3 or $4, maybe $2, but you got to think you driving there and back. So just some of the stuff that they throw out to you, it's just not worth me accepting right now. They just threw out 7.3 miles total, which is 25 minutes for $3.09. What sense does that make? How does that even make sense? And you got some people out there that really will, because they like to be top earners or whatever, with DoorDash is top dasher. They will really accept those orders to keep their acceptance rate up and keep on getting the good orders. So some people will accept something like that, but me, that's why my acceptance rate so low, because I ain't gonna accept nothing like that. This order, 20 miles for $12. What I gonna do with that? Really, what am I going to do with that? So that's why I say my acceptance rate low, but I like the orders to make sense. Make it make sense before I accept it. If it don't make no sense, I ain't gonna accept it. Why y'all gonna give less money than how many miles you throwing out to somebody? But they say you're gonna have some people out there that's going to accept that. All money ain't good money. I ain't gonna try to kill myself to be desperate for it. So I'm just putting that out there. Money ain't good money. Let's continue to get these orders. Oh, no. What did he say? 30 return after failed cash out. What? Was I about what? All right. Let me see if I can find with the smoothie. What's that almond one I had? Not the Daily Warrior that I get, but it's an almond one that I got that I had really liked last time. And I just think that it's so good. And I'm trying to see if I can find it in the app before I pull in. I wish they had order history. Dang, I wish they had a order history. I like things that I got. Is a delivery order for dang. I gotta get me something to eat first. I'm gonna have to pause these orders until I get me something to eat and then go back in there. Because right now, they're a little crowded anyway. So let me see if I can find out which one I had anyway. I hate that I can't find out which one it is. Ooh, they got $1 off a smoothie and they got a $3 off view. Ooh, account. Let's see. Recent orders. Rewards history. Let's see. Dang, it won't even let you click on it. Dang, you can't even see the rewards history. Yep. Dang, I hate that I can't go back and see what I previously ordered. God, I hate that. So I can remember. But I am going to use this coupon because it's a $3 off coupon on a smoothie. So we about to see right now. Oh, you know what I should have got? But I just didn't want to drive. I wish I could have got Kava. And I didn't feel like going to Chipotle to get a Chipotle bowl. But I like Kava. If you have a Kava around, you Kava that ish. I like Kava. I really do, but I feel like doing that drive to go to Kava because that's a drive. But yeah, I'm about to get this smoothie and just settle for this.
It's an amazing day here at Smoothie King. I hope you have your Smoothie King app ready for me. If not, it only takes a second to download. And please, don't forget to do your $1 off survey at the bottom of your receipt. What can we blend for you today?
Just a minute. I'm gonna do a Daily Warrior 20 ounce.
A Daily Warrior 20 ounce? Anything else for you, sir?
That's it.
All right, you can put it out to the window.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna just stick to what I know because I can't remember or find what that sample smoothie I had tasted before. So I'm gonna just stick to what I know. You can't go wrong when you stick to what you know. I was on YouTube, and I like that YouTube are pushing small creators now. They really pushing these small creators. I'm really excited, happy about that. So that goes to show you it's hope, because a lot of people going through the same stuff and the content is relatable. So I like that. I like that they pushing small creators, and I pray that they push mine, because Lord knows I need it. Your girl need it. That's why I say I gotta do what I gotta do until I get to where I want to be. So it is what it is. My time will come for sure. But everybody else, I'm happy for you. I like the fact that small creators stick together. We gotta look out for one another, because what y'all fail to realize, these big time creators, they was once small creators, so they wanted somebody to watch their stuff at one time. So I go hard for the small creators. I go hard for us. We all small creators. We got to stick together, because if we don't stick together, ain't nobody else gonna root for us or stick up for us. So I didn't get my YouTube check in December because I didn't make the threshold. Well, it might have been, I'm trying to figure out, was it November? It might have been, okay, no, I didn't make my threshold in November. When you don't make it, it rolls over to December. So they combine that together. So I'm getting a check for January. So my check for January is the $126.21. So I'm happy about that. At least I'm something. Some money is always better than no money. So I'm really excited about that. So now I need to be making my quota for January, so that's what I'm working on now. So
you got a 20-ounce Daily Warrior? It'll be $4.31 for you.
Thank you. Hey, thank you. All right, got my Daily Warrior, y'all. I love this drink. That's why I say I'm gonna stick to what I know, because if I can't remember what the other drinks is, then we gonna go with this. This junk's so good. If you haven't had that Daily Warrior, you need to try it. I'm telling you, that Daily Warrior is what's up, y'all. But let me turn back on this Uber app and see what pops up. Oh, they're so good. I know eventually I'm probably gonna have to go back in the house and charge up my phone, because my fuse in my car, I need to get another fuse, because that fuse for that lighter isn't not working. So I need to get the little fuse thing to put in there, so I can just charge up my phone in the car. Let me see if I can pull up DoorDash too to see if anything pop up, because I ain't see nothing. They ain't giving me nothing good to make me want to accept the Uber order. Alright, y'all, so I think I'm gonna go back in this house and charge up this phone, and then I think I'm gonna just go ahead and end the vlog here, and I'll basically probably start up another vlog for tomorrow. But if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to join the community, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Bye.
There's nothing. You're trading. Darren will have get.
I got word from home about the spaceport, remember?
Ouch.
They wanted to demolish the annex ruins and build it there. There was some grumbling, but I think everyone's... I feel like...
Negotiate.
I want...
So, Jean...
You... Tythons, it was...
Tell me what you've...
Anyway.
How do you think my training...
Sounds good. She's surviving, doing what you got to do. I don't do that because, number one, I got to get out. And if you're young enough and you can get your ass out of there and deliver proper, you're good. But some of these people live in apartments that are really confusing to me, and I don't want to deliver downtown. You know, I hate downtown. I hate driving around. I'm a very sedentary person. I only go out if, you know, it's like to the park or some shit or shopping.
I don't think I...
When we had money, we used to go see a movie on the weekends. You know what I mean? Now I just pay $10, $15 a month for Netflix. And that's it. Just can't afford all this other shit.
So you if Ben moderate. I need to got a thing. Coherence there and that's it.
I'm just speeding through this. Trying to get this done quickly.
Those red if you're no oh I'm glad oh.
Okay, so if I do this one, I have to take Kusen with me.
Take it slow for a while.
All right. I think we're going to do one more video real quick. So I'm trying to find one of the last ones I wanted to do. Here's one.
Unemployment.
I'm going to start it from the beginning. This is from Free Investing. What's Coming is Worse Than a Recession by Richard Wolff's last warning. Like I said, I'll put all the links in the description. It's about 30 minutes. Here we go.
Please don't shoot the messenger just because you don't like the message. I am not responsible for the conditions that we face as a nation today, but I am not going to sugarcoat what the situation is. My guess is you already know it in your hearts and in the backs of your minds, if not in the front. So I thought it might be useful if we took stock of where we are. And by taking stock, I mean economics above all else. That's a core part of our situation about which Americans are extraordinarily poorly informed. I do believe we are at a major transition point in the history of the United States and probably of the whole world. I know that sounds grandiose, and I don't normally talk in grandiose terms, but the situation calls for it. And as I say, I'm not going to shrink away from why I think this. So let me begin by telling you why I think it's such an important moment in our history. For most of the last 50 years, roughly since 1970, the dominant economic reality of the global economy and of the United States as the major player and shaper of that global economy in the last 50 years. That period can be characterized by many names, but the one that economists use is the phrase neoliberal globalization. And here's what it means.
Wow.
That in an era that we remember with names like Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher, we turned away from the legacy of the New Deal. We turned away, as did many other countries, from the notion that a catastrophe like the Great Depression of the 1930s required that government play a major role in keeping capitalism tolerable for the mass of people. Remember what we did in the 1930s. We established Social Security that had never existed before in the United States. We established a minimum wage that had never existed before in the United States. We established unemployment insurance that had never existed before in the United States. And the government hired and paid 15 million people who were unemployed, and nothing like that had ever happened in the United States either. The government was called in to do all these things, in the words of one clever thinker, to give capitalism a human face. And it was paid for because it was very expensive, as you can imagine. To give every elderly American a Social Security check every month for the rest of their lives. To give unemployed people a check every week for a year or two. To hire 15 million people. And the money that paid for all of that were heavy taxes placed on corporations and the rich. It's an important reminder for those of you who do not think that here in the United States we can ever tax corporations and the rich. It's an important reminder, of course we can, because we already did. As the remembrance, a footnote, the politician who had the courage to tax corporations and the rich, Franklin Roosevelt, was re-elected president 3 consecutive times. He has been and is to this moment the most successful popular president in the history of the United States, starting with George Washington. So not only can you tax corporations and the rich, but when we had a president who was forced from below to do it, he became the most popular politician we've ever had. In the period starting in 1970, as the memory of the New Deal, as it was called, faded, Reagan and Thatcher undertook to roll the New Deal back. It had already begun before that, but it really gathered steam. And the mantra was the reverse of the New Deal. Instead of calling the government in to give capitalism a human face, people stumbled over one another, led by the Republicans, but tragically followed by the Democrats, to roll the government back, to get the government out of the economy, to go back to a capitalism which, if I may be allowed to continue the metaphor, lacks a human face, as the songs we just heard today document. And over the last 50 years, the government not only didn't regulate the way it once did, didn't intervene the way it once did, but it blessed the decision of corporate America to go where the profits were the greatest, which is what capitalism normally does. And where were profits the greatest? Answer: China. Starting in the 1970s, we had a mammoth exodus, and not like the one in the Bible. No, this was an exodus of American corporate leaders. They had graduated from business school where they had been taught, parentheses, I have taught in business schools myself, I know the curriculum. They were taught if you want to succeed in business, go to where the wages are low and the market is expanding. The place where the wages were low and the market was expanding the most was in the land called the People's Republic of China. And American corporations, British and French and German and Italian and Japanese, they all went to China, where they were welcomed, where they were celebrated. And over the last 40 to 50 years, the Chinese economy grew. About half the economy there is capitalist. Private companies working pretty much the way they do here. The other half of the Chinese economy, government-owned and operated enterprises working the way they once did in places like the Soviet Union. China is a hybrid between the U.S. and the Soviet Union. Different from both because it's a mixed situation. And it turns out that under the leadership of the Chinese Mao Zedong and the ones that have come since him, it turns out this hybrid organization can grow faster than any other economic system the world has ever seen. For the last 30 years, China has grown its economy, its GDP, its gross domestic product, between 6 and 9% per year. During that time, the United States GDP grew between 2 and 3% a year. It doesn't take rocket science to understand that if you can manage that difference, if China can grow 2 to 3 times faster than the United States for 30 years, it can do what it has now done. Namely, it's caught up. Today, the United States has a competitor economically. We haven't had one for a century. World War II eliminated the potential competitors economically of the United States. Britain, France, Italy, Germany, and Japan, all destroyed by that war. Russia too. Russia never was an economic competitor. It isn't now either. The GDP of the United States right now is about $25 trillion. The GDP of Russia about now is 3, maybe 4 trillion. No contest. It never was. It's part of why the entire Cold War will have to be revisited so Americans can finally learn what the truth about all of this is. Well, here we are. And what has happened has been that the United States now faces, for the first time in a century, an economic competitor. Big, powerful, highly developed, and able to outcompete the United States across the board, from the lowest to the highest technology which either side is capable of. And the United States has not yet come to terms with this situation. The American people are engaged in what my psychotherapist wife explains to me is called denial. The pretense, mostly to yourself, that the reality around you isn't there. It's best understood when glimpsing a toddler confronted by a scary barking dog, and the toddler puts his or her hands in front of her eyes, comforted by the thought that if you can't see the dog, it isn't there. But we all know you grow up, and at a certain point, not many years later, you come to understand you can put your hand there, but it doesn't make the dog disappear. China's going nowhere. China is growing. By the way, lest you think any of this is in the past, let me give you right now what the rate of growth of economic output is for 2024. These I'm about to give you are the estimates of the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, which monitors all of this. Economic growth for the United States, 2024, 2.8%, right on target with what it's been on and off for a long time. The economic growth of People's Republic of China this year, will be 4.8%, nearly double. And the economic growth of India will be 7%. The next time you hear an American politician or you read in an American newspaper how the American economy is doing better than anyone in the world, please remember the word denial. That kind of statement, which I encounter almost every day, is the exact equivalent of a toddler putting fingers in front of her eyes or nose in hoping that the scary dog will go away. Not only have the Chinese outgrown us, but they have built an alliance with other countries that are recognizing that what was true for the last 75 years, a global economy dominated by the United States as the country that came out of World War II with no bombs that fell on it other than Pearl Harbor, and less damage than any other developed country. The Chinese have built an alliance called the BRICS, B-R-I-C-S. You don't hear as much about it as you ought to. It started a few years ago, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, 5 countries. A year and a half ago, 6 more joined. And 3 weeks ago, 13 more joined. The BRICS together is more than half the population of this planet. The United States is 4.5%, not 50% of this planet. The total output of goods and services in the BRICS is significantly larger already than the total output of the United States and its major allies known as the G7. The United States, Canada, Japan, Britain, France, Germany, and Italy. So now every country in the world, every company in the world is reassessing and redesigning its strategy for the future. And what do I mean? They're redesigning because the dominant player in the world of the last 70 years, the United States, isn't the dominant player anymore. There is a bigger player, richer player in the BRICS, which means if you're going to build a railroad in your country, you don't just go to Washington or London or Paris. You may go to them, but you're going to ask them what offer they can make, and then you're going to compare it to what you can get from Beijing, New Delhi, and Sao Paulo. And in case after case, the choice is made to go with the BRICS, not the West. So what do I mean? I mean to tell you all that if you ask me to tell you what is the biggest reality we now have to face, it's the end of the American empire. What we inherited from the British, because they had the last empire before this one, is now over, and there is zero chance it's coming back. It ought to have been a central issue in the presidential election we just had. Instead, the 2 candidates and their parties worked overtime to practice denial. No such a thing. The war in Ukraine, just to take one of countless examples, will show you how costly this denial is. When the war begins in February of 2022, President Biden told us, along with all of his officials, Russia would be brought to its knees. The Russian currency, the ruble, would collapse. The entire West would side with Ukraine against the Russian invasion and would defeat the Russians. None of that happened. Every part of that prediction proved false. Why? Because the way Russia was to be brought to its knees was by denying the market for Russian oil and gas, whose export the Russians depend on. It's a major industry for them. And they exported all of that energy to Western Europe. When the Western Europeans, under pressure from the United States, closed their markets to Russia, the expectation was that Russia would collapse. Instead, Russia went to its allies in the BRICS, above all China and India, and arranged to sell to them the oil and gas they no longer sold to the Europeans. As a result, Russia is growing faster this year than the United States, and it has grown at a faster rate than the United States throughout the war. You couldn't be more mistaken than this. That's what it means if you deny a reality. What we know about the history of every other empire that also grew, was powerful, and then died was that the ride up as you're growing is a lot more fun and pleasant than the ride down when you're dying. The ride up was the 20th century, which many of you, like me, lived through. We now have to figure out how we descend when our empire is dying. What the United States is doing is typical. Denial has always been there. You can travel to Britain today and encounter no small number of people who still imagine that the British Empire is still there. Witness the inauguration ceremonies for King Charles, who's the king of nobody. What is this? Here's how it works in the United States. People who are rich and powerful are offloading the costs of a declining empire off of themselves. They don't want to suffer, which I understand. But if the economy is going down, which it is, and the people at the top are keeping theirs, which they are, then the rest of us, the middle class, the lower classes, the poor, we're going to be taking it on the chin more and more. And let me give you just a few of the examples. The inflation we just went through. That's a way of lowering the standard of living of large numbers of people, which they felt acutely as they went and paid $6 for a dozen eggs or everything else. They know they're suffering. My guess, no chance for Mr. Trump without that inflation. It gave him the victory, and it cost Kamala Harris the loss. But it's not the only thing. Let me give you other examples which an economist stares at with astonishment. The minimum wage at the federal level in the United States right now is $7.25 per hour, a sum of money on which nobody can live. When was the last time it was raised? 2009. That's 15 years ago. In every one of those 15 years, inflation raised the prices here in the United States of food, clothing, shelter, and everything else. Some years it went up a lot. Some years it went up only a little, but it went up. And what did we do to the people to whom we paid the lowest salary? $7.25. We didn't raise it. Republicans didn't raise it. Democrats didn't raise it. You know what that is? That's cruel and unusual punishment given to people whose crime is that they're poorly paid in the first place. What kind of a country does that? A declining empire whose rich and powerful are busy offloading the costs of that decline onto everybody else. Here's another sign. Our real wages have been stagnant for 30 to 40 years. In other words, if you measure, as we do in economics, the average wage in dollars paid to American workers, and you adjust that to the prices they have to pay when they spend their wages, it's been going up somewhere around 0.5% a year. That's called stagnation. That means your wage isn't going anywhere. By the way, in contrast, the average real wages in the People's Republic of China have quadrupled over the same 30 years. If you want to understand why the government in China is secure, why it is powerful, why economic growth there is celebrated, I just gave you the statistic. Their average wage quadrupled. The average wage in the United States went nowhere. That's not even close, friends. And if you didn't know that, since everything I'm telling you is easily verifiable in 1,000 government statistics, then you understand what I mean by denial. We are therefore experiencing in this country an extraordinary deepening of inequality. At the end of World War II, the United States was less unequal than European countries. Today, we are more unequal than every European country. How did that happen? Well, on the one hand, when corporations went to China and took advantage of low wages and a growing market, it made a fortune for those corporations and therefore for the top 10% of Americans who own shares. Just a footnote. The top 10% richest Americans own 80% of the stocks and bonds. They did well. The rest of us, we are experiencing a declining empire, which those at the top don't want you to think about. They're managing it quite well. We cannot. That inequality, together with the inflation, gives you Mr. Trump's victory and the bitterness and divisiveness that is suffusing this economy. And still, nobody willing to face these realities or to speak about them. Let me conclude by telling you that this is important to understand not only as our past and not even only as our present, as in the election we just had, but also in our future. This denial, this refusal to face the realities of the economy we have and that is shaping our lives, and even more those of our children, promises us frightening near future. Mr. Trump won the election because he positioned himself with dramatic gestures, the sort favored by Madison Avenue advertisers. And the two gestures were, "I am the great protector." Mr. Trump understood far better than the Democrats that people feel attacked, undermined, frightened, scared, worried for themselves and their children, as well they should be. They glimpse fearfully where things are going. They want to be protected from it all. So he put himself forward as the great protector. And his two images were walls, the image of a protector. He's going to put a steel wall at the southern border to protect us against the invasion of the immigrants. And then he's going to put another wall, a tariff wall, to protect us against the evil Chinese. Very powerful images, very successful. But in terms of economics, total incoherent nonsense. It's impossible, and it's a bad joke. And the whole world is watching. And while it's watching this bad joke unfold, the gap between the United States and the G7 on one hand, and the People's Republic of China and the BRICS on the other, deepens. The United States' effort to stop, block, undercut China have failed. Been doing it now for 15 years. Started big time under Obama. It doesn't work. And so the question is, what? Do you keep doing it? When the United States' people wanted to become independent of George III, the dominant king of the great British Empire, it ended up in a war. The War of 1774, 5, and 6, our Independence War. And to the surprise of everybody, the British lost. In 1812, they tried again, and they lost again. After that, the British decided, okay, we'll have to work out an arrangement. And the United States arrangement was, you're independent, you can take Latin America. That was the Monroe Doctrine that happened a few years after that. And Britain took the rest. Asia, Africa was theirs. They avoided a war after that for a century. What will the United States do? Continue its denial of what's going on? threaten, as they have, China with war, despite the fact that China has nuclear weapons and the Russians do too, and they are now allied in good part because of the United States? Or are we going to sit down and work something out? Are we going to tell the American people, honestly, our empire is declining? The next one looks to be Chinese. Or if it isn't Chinese, it's going to be a multinational replacement for the kind of dominance that the Persians or the Dutch or the British or the Americans operated. The world is changing very fundamentally. We are living, as I said a half hour ago, at a time of enormously profound change. And our job as Americans is to stop behaving childishly in this game of thinking that the problems I've barely sketched don't have to be worried about, because we can continue to act as if we were in charge in the way we were in the 1960s and 70s. We aren't. Nothing like that. The war in Ukraine is lost. For those of you who don't keep track, is over, except for signing the documents. Russia won, Ukraine and the West lost. The war in Gaza isolates the United States. Indeed, what historians will say when they look back on this time will be that the United States undertook to isolate and neutralize the dangers after World War II. First in the Soviet Union, then in China, then in the global socialist world, nowadays in what are euphemistically called authoritarian societies. But the end result of the plan to isolate the rest of the world going through these efforts was to isolate the United States itself. We and Israel are standing all alone in that part of the world. And the Europeans, whose world is collapsed, they're economically a basket case. And you know why? What the major reason is that Europe is gone as a player? Because they relied on two things: exporting to China, which the Chinese don't need, and cheap energy from Russia, which they have turned away from. So the energy costs make European production uncompetitive. They have to pay too much for energy, and they can't sell in China the way they once did. They're done. Germany, which used to be the engine of European growth, is now the laggard dragging it down. It really is extraordinary, folks, that what you have thought about and assumed is now over. And it takes courage, but also a sense of realism to say now we are going to talk honestly about our situation and try to find a livable way forward. The alternative, well, I don't want to spell it out. You can figure it out for yourself. But I hope you will not hold against me that I have told you how this situation really is, rather than comforting you with more denial.
Wow. Well, I'm in the middle of a flashpoint, so I'm going to see if I can put another video up. I don't know. Damn, I'm going to have like 5 video links. Okay, here's one from Jack Morgan, RLP, Red Leather Podcast. This is Attack on Poor People. Wild stuff. Here we go.
Oh, wow, wow, wow. All right, we sound good. Buckle up. We just got a weird one today. We're coming in 2025 swinging. We're going beyond the ether. So there's a lot of rhetoric. I don't actually believe this. It's almost kind of nuts. The whole, like, poor people shouldn't be having kids. We're going to get deep on this. It's not just about having kids, but that's kind of the crux of this video. Anyways, just get ready for it. It's kind of funny, actually, when you watch it.
for this, but I believe that if you are really poor, you should not be having kids. Like, if you,
I will never understand in my 30 years of living how people can sit up here, have no money, be struggling on their own, just taking care of themselves, and decide, you know what, I'm gonna have a baby. It don't make no sense.
When you say it that way, it kind of makes sense. Like, I'm 35, I want a kid. I'm planning on having a kid. It's crazy to say, like, 35. That's kind of the normal now, though, or at least for a lot of people. But this one, too, is another one where it's like people just don't want kids. This is a Michael Bordenaro YouTuber. I like him. Cool dude. He doesn't have any kids either. But some people just don't want kids, and you know why? They're expensive. And let's be realistic. If you're like a super selfish person, you know, you're probably not going to want to have a kid. Which I understand, because I'm 35 and I don't have a kid. So I do get it. You know, once you have a kid, that is it, buddy. I'm just saying, you're no longer the kid anymore. Or maybe you are. I don't know. But this is kind of, let's really get into this. Let's get deep here. Okay, let's have some fun. Let's not get too serious. It's going to be a little serious. But like this person, she's crying. I love the crying on the internet thing. It's a big one. I'm doing the best I can, but the guilt I carry from being an only parent, that's a huge one, with no real family or close friends. This actually kind of reigns something I empathize with. Struggling with my health, watching my son constantly play alone with his cardboard boxes. Oh, come on. Because I can't afford nice toys. Hey, you know, there's that episode of SpongeBob where they're playing in the box and they're like playing make-believe. It could be fun. You know, I used to build forts and stuff. Wanting to intern myself. Wait, what? I don't know what that means. Get help, but afraid the system will take him away. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
I don't have a
will.
kid, like I said, so I can't empathize completely. But the no family thing, like my parents are gone. So that's a big one for me. Like, a lot of people can have help from the grandparents. So that's a big one. Imagine, like, having a kid, you got no parents. I mean, how many people do the grandparents kind of, that's a big deal. You know, that's like the cycle of life, you know? So I think about that with me and my girl. Like, if we're going to have kids, I'm kind of like, well, thank God you have parents, you know, whether they're going to be super involved or not, because I don't have any. So, what are you going to do? Pawn your kids off to your friends? You know, like, come on. They don't even want kids themselves. That's something to think about. The cardboard box lady. It's kind of really starting this year off nice. But anyways, pivot a little bit. This one's just about being... This one's kind of the good side of growing up poor. I know.
Better to be poor because you have no fucking clue. I didn't know we were going into a recession.
I can confirm that if you grew up poor, there's a lot of benefits when you get older because your survival instincts on a whole nother level. You know how to make it in the worst situations. Like, I've been living life in recession mode the whole time. This ain't nothing to me.
Yeah, no shit.
Honestly, it makes sense.
Yeah,
it does.
make sense.
Because I grew up very well off, not like rich, but well off, and I had the opposite happen to me. Like, I didn't experience what it was like to have no money until I was like 19. So, you know, it's kind of... But once you experience what it's like to have money and you know that you can do it, then you know you could always do it. So that's kind of the... Does that make any sense? But it was a real, like, shock, you know. Like, so I feel like if I went from not having money to money... it would have been maybe an easier job. I don't know. Maybe life just isn't easy. Anyways, you should have money before you have kids. From the Asian man.
Have money before having kids. I know people tell you you'll figure it out. You won't figure it out. You'll be broke.
Hey, look, right. Why do some women have multiple babies and then complain about not being able to take care of them or feed them or whatever? Girl, ain't nobody tell your ass to get pregnant all them fucking times.
Okay,
I'm just gonna let it keep playing.
This message is for poor people and poor people only. So if you're not a poor person, just keep scrolling.
No, we're gonna want you anyways.
How are you guys managing Christmas? Like, it is hard enough for me to just to be able to get things for my children. Everybody else, I hope you enjoy the gift of my love, because that is all I can afford.
So you show up to the function and you go, my presence is your present. You're welcome. Here's a trick we could take from this lady, though. Cardboard boxes. You tell them it's a fort. You know, kids love that kind of stuff. They like imagination, you know. While all the other kids in schools have iPads, they're showing up with a box. So, you know, I guess it's just perspective. How do you look at it? The SpongeBob episode. If you've never seen it, SpongeBob and Patrick, they get this big giant box, and they buy this big screen TV. It comes in a huge box. They take the box off, and they throw the TV away. And their neighbor Squidward, who's stiff, he can't comprehend what they're doing, and they're just playing in the box, and they're playing pretend. And Squidward's so confused because you would think the TV was the thing, but really, it was the way they looked at life. So anyways, and Patrick lived under a rock. He didn't have any money. Something to think about. I don't know. I'm just making shit up.
Did you know the biggest rise in poverty in the United States in the last 4 years was in the suburbs?
Yeah, middle class, man. It's like what is it? It's a warfare, classism. It's like the rich and the poor, the wealth gap. I'm gonna do a whole video on that. Anyways, billionaires want you to have kids. This is classics. They want poor people to have kids. So basically everybody.
The poor should have kids so my son's factories have workers. That is what Mae Musk, Elon's mother, stated in a Fox News interview. She also stated, you don't have to go to the movies and you don't have to go out to dinner. They don't want us having anything. They just want us to be workers. So you people who look up to billionaires like Musk and Ramaswamy and Trump, just be assured that they all think like this and they look down on you.
If you're...
I know. I know. If you made it this far, it's just kind of like, what's going on? It gets better, though. Okay? Kids aside. You know? What it takes to be a businessman nowadays. But speaking of not being so poor or broke, I appreciate everybody that bought a shirt. The RLP Classic. Got the link down below. All 17 of you. Means the world to me. And sorry if it took them a little bit of time. I was out of town. I ship everything from the house. I do it all myself. So, anyways, back to roasting poor people. This one's not about kids, but this is... I worked in the restaurant industry, so I feel what this lady's saying. But at the same time, she's not a billionaire, and she still thinks this way, so...
You're poor, or you're in debt, or you can't afford to tip your server, like, anything more than $2 to $3 fucking dollars. The only time you should be seeing the inside of a restaurant is if you're clocked in and working. I don't give a fuck. Not sitting at the fucking table. I don't want to hear y'all complaining about money and then seeing y'all sat down with a fucking cocktail and an appetizer. Get the fuck out of here. Take the tip out of the equation. You shouldn't be there regardless. Like, you should be at the fucking grocery store or eating crackers. Like, I don't know. I don't care. Stop.
My dad, when he was still present, he told me once that, like, you know, when people would leave a bad tip or something, I was young, and he goes, you know, you gotta think about it. He goes, you know, we give you a lot. You know, you see us give, we're always giving, so you're used to giving, right? Think about the lady with the cardboard boxes and her kid, right? Not saying that kid's gonna grow up to be a bad tipper, okay, but if you grow up and your own parents don't give you anything, and nobody's ever really just giving you anything, it's kind of hard for you to then go out and just go, yeah, here's just hand people stuff, if that makes any sense. And plus, you're in the restaurant business, lady. Like, that's how it goes. You're gambling, you know? I just thought that one was kind of funny. Anyways, low-income families and having kids. I hope you guys are having fun. This is a little gnarly, but this is what's going on the internet. I don't know how I come across this stuff, but you almost just gotta laugh at it.
Telling low-income families that they can't have more kids, because that is the most ridiculous thing that I...
Maybe we'll stop telling low-income families to stop having kids when they can provide for the ones that they already have.
This guy keeps going. Only the ultra wealthy or poor can afford to have children. In other words, there's no in between anymore. It keeps going. Sorry, my girl just got home, kind of distracted me.
Poor people shouldn't be having kids.
This guy makes a whole bunch of videos on it. I'm gonna let him ride it out.
Kids because they can't even take care of themselves. And everyone will be miserable as a result of your irresponsible decision to bring in a child into this world when you cannot provide. Like, if you can't provide food, shelter, clothing, housing, healthcare for your kid, you shouldn't be having one. I know there's people in the comments going to say it's a privilege to have all those things. Well, it's a privilege to have a kid. It's a privilege to have a kid, and not everyone deserves to have a kid. As a former teacher, I can confidently say there are many parents out there that don't deserve the kids that they have. And I'll confidently say there are a lot of parents out there too that do deserve the children that they have and are very active and are great parents. This becomes misery for everyone because we all need to jump in to help this child because they are innocent in this whole process, but you are the responsible adult supposedly who put them in this situation, and now systems of support need to step in to help your child out because of your irresponsible parenting and inability to provide for them.
What if someone said...
Yeah, but a lot of these people that fuck and make kids don't have a conscience.
Some valid points.
They just make babies.
But I think a big one was kind of the chick in the middle there that was like, it is a little ridiculous. The girl in the beginning. This is absurd. You know? I get where the guy's coming from, though. You know, I don't want to pay for your kids, just like you certainly do not want to pay for my kids. I know you don't. I know you. You don't want to. But back to what this chick was saying. Hold on. All right. Okay. One, before we get to her, this chick's not tripping. It is insane that this is going on. You know, it's kind of nuts. I agree with her as well. But right here, this one's crucial. Okay. Only the ultra wealthy or poor can afford to have children. All right. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. So what this guy and what a lot of other people are saying is, basically, if you have kids and you make a decent salary, you're not getting government assistance. All right? But then it's almost like, how do you afford that? It's like a catch-22. It's the classic. It's the long con. But this is something I experienced here. We're going to switch gears. I grew up very well off. Mother loved me. My dad loved me until the drugs took over. But we basically, we didn't lose everything, but like it went from my dad, you know, taking care of me to me now taking care of him. It's like the selfish parent, if that makes any sense. So I had to pay for him. And he pulled the whole, you know, I'm your dad, I'm your father card. And I bought his shit. I still do. I still take care of him. I mean, he's in a home now, but this is something people do to their kids when they're young. Just pay attention. This is crazy. I couldn't imagine.
Someone said to you that will stick with you forever.
My father told me that if your children have to go through the same struggles that you went through, then you have failed as a parent.
Black
Right here. My bad. I agree with her.
parents make their children pay bills when they still live at home because black parents hold their children accountable for their failed lives.
I'm from Ohio. I got two older brothers. My mom waited until they graduated high school, down there went to college to move to Florida. She moved me to Florida. I think I was like 13, 14 years old. As soon as I got down there, I don't know nobody. We don't have any family down there. I wound up getting my first job at Burger King. I was like 14 and a half, 15 years old. She made me pay for her and my phone bill and half for the rent. She pretty much alienized me from everything I knew and just dropped me in a whole nother part of the country. It low-key continued until I was about 22. It was crazy. But all that to say, she was chasing the man pretty much. Still trying to be young. Dragged me with her. My life ain't turned out the best. I'm still kind of putting the pieces together from that, but none but facts.
There was a lot of those kind of stories. I can't put them all in here. I don't know how long we could talk about if you're poor, you shouldn't have kids. Probably not that much longer. We're going to wind it down here. But I couldn't imagine. I could imagine when you turn 22, you're still living at home. It's like, all right, let's help out around here. You know, I did it. It makes sense. But when you're 14, there are stories of like 12-year-olds Think about the kids working at Nike right now. The 6-year-old sewing your shoes. He's just doing it. That's fucked up. It's a bad joke. I retract that statement. Anyways, we're going to wind this down. Okay, let's end on a positive note. This dude's talking about how poor used to be different. I thought this was interesting.
Difference between being poor now and being poor in the past is, in the past, being poor meant you didn't get as nice a house, you didn't get as nice a car, you didn't get as nice of clothes, you didn't get as nice food, and you didn't get as nice vacations, but you could live. And you get a form of all of those. You get a home and a car and some vacations and some food and clothing. Being poor in America now means death, believe me. And anybody who says, if you don't like your plight in life, go get a better fucking job, fuck you. Fuck you.
No.
You think if everybody walked out of their minimum wage paying jobs tomorrow, there's going to be $150,000 jobs for all of them, no matter how hard they can work? There's finite amount of jobs like that. And anybody who says something like that is privileged. So, again, fuck you.
He was pissed. But he's got a point, you know. Just because you're... I feel like most people are not making enough money. And if you don't have the luxury of, you know, for instance, me and my lady, we work together. You know, it makes it a lot easier. As a single person, it's rough, dude. And then having a kid... You know, it's almost like if there weren't these programs and this other stuff, it's almost like you couldn't even have the kid. So I don't think people, just based on the kind of money you make, you shouldn't have a kid. I think it's personally, I think we need children, honestly, because eventually, you know, I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I think that guy's got a point, though. You know, the poor thing's getting a little intense. Anyways, let's end on a positive note here. This is just some people who made some poor decisions, not necessarily poor people. Ron Wayne sold his 10% stake in Apple for $800. That 10% stake is worth around $320 billion today. Yeah, talk about playing the long game, all right? Can't have immediate satisfaction anymore. This is another example of poor decisions. When Vincent Price agreed to lend his voice to the Thriller song, he had to choose between a share of the album's profits or a flat fee of $20,000. He chose the $20,000. Hey, just a lesson to be learned here. Basically. Now, we're going to end on another positive note. Okay, I don't know if this is going to make any sense to you, but skateboarding is looked down upon, this guy here. As somebody who skateboarded his whole life, this is going to make sense afterwards. It's kind of a metaphor for life here.
Everyone in my office knows I'm the skateboarder, and I recently just got hurt skating, and I was out for a couple days. So I get back, and they're like, oh, how'd you get hurt? And I was like, oh, I got hurt skating. And immediately they're just like, oh, so you're not going to skate again, right? Like, you know, you're getting a little too old for that, right? And I'm just like... why would I stop skateboarding? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? If I got hurt running or snowboarding or skiing, you wouldn't be like, all right, well, that's the last run of your life. You're never going to fucking run again. Oh, you're never going to go to the mountain again. Like, skateboarding has such a weird, like, why do people have that perspective of it? It's so weird. It's so odd, man. Does anyone else fucking, like, am I the only one that feels like this?
Anyways, the skateboarding metaphor is you know, not everybody's going to look at it the way you do. And also in skateboarding, it takes a long time to figure it out. And I think that's kind of with kids too. You know, it's like just because you don't have any money now doesn't mean you won't in 10 years, 20 years. I don't know. You guys leave your thoughts. This one was kind of bananas. It was actually a little much for me to take in. I'm just like, oh no. But if you guys want to reach out to me, hit me up at this phone number on the screen. It is going to cost you a little bit, $5 per minute. Leave the information down below. Check out the second channel. Thanks to everybody who bought a t-shirt. 2025, baby. Unreal.
Target appears to be non-sentient. 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 Target appears to be non-sentient.
It's okay.
Droid's taking a lot of
Appears
hits,
to be non-sentient.
but I'm not exactly upgraded, fantastically on this character.
Target appears to be non-sentient. Target appears to be non-sentient. Target appears to be non-sentient. Target appears to be non-sentient.
Okay. All right, I'm going to stop the video here, and then I'll go ahead and continue from this point, and take a short break because I wanted to see if I can finish this flashpoint. I don't know if I can. Hopefully I can. We'll see. All right, thanks for watching.